guys, it's Amy. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing kind of a story time kind of video with you guys. I went on a canoe trip over the weekend and I just kind of wanted to tell you guys what happened on the trip. It went a little sideways. So this is my first time doing any kind of like a story time video. So let me know down in the comments if you guys are interested in more stories. I have tons and tons of stories that I could tell. All my friends say I should write a book or something. So if you guys are interested in hearing any of my other stories, comment down below and let me know. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into the story. So over the weekend, me and my family, like my entire dad's side of the family, decided to go on a canoe trip. And, you know, we all had our own separate canoes. It all started with we were trying to get my niece. We wanted to take her canoeing. She'd never been canoeing before, and we were like, oh, this would be a great time to take her canoeing. I wasn't even going to go originally, and it was just going to be my parents and my niece. And then they invited my cousin to go with, and his daughter, so that they could like kind of go canoeing together, the two of them, because they're close to the same age. They're not like the exact same age, but close enough that they get along, you know. And so it started off with that. Well, the next thing you know, my uncle was going, and then my other cousin was going, and then I was like, well, I want to go. So me and Aaron decided to go. So we all got together and we went. And we went to, if you're from Indiana, we went to Sugar Creek, which is really popular for canoeing in Indiana. I've only been there one other time, and I've only been canoeing once in my life. Aaron had never been canoeing, and me and him were in a canoe together, so we knew right off the bat, like, that it was not gonna be, like, the perfect canoe trip, because neither one of us knew what we were doing. We were both just kind of winging it here. But we figured we might flip the canoe, but we had high hopes that we were gonna be able to just fly right by it, and, you know, we were gonna be fine and dandy. So if any of you guys have ever been on a canoe trip before, through like a company like this, you had to like get on like a shuttle, and the shuttle takes you to the canoes where you're gonna get off, and then you pick up your canoe, you take it down. Well, the canoe is freaking heavy, and I was struggling to pick it up. So I felt bad. Aaron was doing most of the work, but you know, what can I do? You know, I tried my best. If we didn't have somebody with us and it was just me and him by ourselves, we would have capsized like the entire time. But I don't know if like my cousin and my uncle are like canoe experts, but they seem to know what they were doing, and they seemed like they'd done this multiple times. And cut to me and Aaron, just we looked like some idiots. But you know, there was a couple times I know my parents struggled just as much as I did, if not more than I did. So that made me feel a little bit better. But it got to a point, we went on a 6-mile trip. So it took about like 2-3 hours. I was gonna say close to 3 hours is how long it took us to finish the canoe trip. And around maybe like the 5-mile mark, you know, we'd been doing great. Nothing had gone wrong. You know, we weren't like super tired. We were having a fun time. And we were like, oh, this is great. You know, our canoeing skills are a lot better than we thought they were gonna be. It got to this part in the river where I could tell that the current was kind of strong, and I had stopped because I didn't want to keep going into it, because I could see that there was a situation ahead and I knew something was gonna happen. And so I looked at my uncle and I was like, hey, which way do you think is the best way to take? And he was like, oh, you're gonna just kind of go over here to the right. You're gonna go through that and you'll be fine. And I'm sitting here looking at it going, there's a current that goes straight into a tree. And I was like, no, this is not gonna work. And he was like, no, you got it. So we watch him go. They handled it perfectly fine. So now me and Aaron go. So the way we were in the canoe is Aaron was in the front and I was in the back. So with me being in the back, I was in control of the steering, and you know, he was really just kind of like the muscle in the front. So because I really had no idea what I was doing steering wise, like, you know, I got the general idea, but when there's a heavy current like that, it's a lot harder to steer. And so I had tried my best to kind of get it to go to the left where we needed to go. But the current was so strong, I just couldn't do it. And so eventually it got to the point where I could tell that we were going under, and there was nothing I could do about it, you know. So we went into, the canoe just went straight into this tree, and then once we got like under it, the whole canoe just kind of flipped over. And the current kept trying to take me under the canoe, which was extremely terrifying. I've never had like a fear of drowning before, but there was a slight moment that I was pretty terrified for my life, because I kept trying to get up over the water and out of the water, and every time I would try to stand up and get out, I would just get sucked and pulled back down under, and it like kept trying to take me under the canoe. And eventually, since it was a tree, I kind of like grabbed a hold of the tree and pulled myself up, and was able to kind of stand up and just hold onto the tree so I didn't go under anymore. But at that point I was like, okay, now I'm up out of the water. I mean, I'm still in the water. It was kind of about maybe like waist high, so it wasn't like super deep water, but the current was so strong that you couldn't like move. Like, I kept trying to get out, you know, and the last thing on my mind was all of our stuff, but thankfully everything that was in our canoe was saved, except for, it's so silly, but I had found like an oyster shell that was like super pretty, and it was really big, and I was really excited to take it home and clean it off. But you know, that's the only thing I lost, you know, because everything that was in the canoe, when it kind of floated away, my uncle was kind of like at the end, just kind of catching everything that was floating down the river. So that was really nice of him to get everything. The one thing that freaked me out losing was my GoPro. I had it, but we had it on like one of those like floating handles, so it floated down the river and he caught it. So thank God I got that back. I was the only one that brought my phone with me. Aaron was smart and kept his in the car, but I physically can't be without my phone. I don't know why. It's just like a problem I have. But he had it in like a waterproof case around his neck. I had originally been carrying it and just got tired of it, so I gave it to him. And so I freaked out a little bit thinking my phone wasn't gonna work, but because it was just like a cheap, like I think I got it in like the dollar section at Target, you know, nothing like really fancy or anything like that. But it worked, and my phone was survived, and it didn't have any kind of water damage or anything like that. So and neither one of us got hurt, which is really surprising. I think, you know, everything could have gone a lot worse than it did. Once we realized both of us were like safe, neither one of us were injured, and you know, all of like the main stuff that we needed was safe, that's when we kind of started to strategize, okay, how are we getting out of this situation? So my cousin came over and he tried to help us get out. I know we were about to just leave the canoe because there was nothing we could do. But then he thought of an idea to kind of just like push it out through the tree and just let the current take it, and then we'll figure it out after that. And then like we would just hold onto this tree and just kind of walk with the tree to kind of get out, which made it a little bit easier. But then we had to go the entire rest of the canoe trip with our clothes just soaking wet. But like I said, this was kind of like the 5-mile mark, so we really only had like a mile left to go that we had to be wet. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And like I said, once we knew both of us were safe and neither one of us got hurt and all of our stuff was safe, like nothing got damaged, we were able to just kind of laugh it off, and it wasn't that serious of a situation at that point. But like I said, there was a moment there that I had one. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had a moment like that where like you like for a split second like think that like this is it. But I had that moment for about like 3 seconds, you know. It just kind of like scared me a little bit, but like I said, both of us are fine now, and everything is great. you know, at the end of the day, we both had a fun time. Even though we flipped the canoe, you know, I knew it was gonna happen. I just thought it'd be because neither one of us would know what we were doing and we would just flip it because we were unstable. But I mean, the reason why we went down was because of that current, and that current was really strong, and I think you had to really know what you were doing to kind of get through that. I hope you guys enjoyed that little story about my canoe trip. I know it wasn't the most entertaining thing in the world, but, you know, for me, it was kind of an experience that I probably won't forget for a while. If you like the video, please like it down below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at GeekBeauty93. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.